It was a rainy Tuesday afternoon in Charleston, South Carolina. The sky hung low with gray clouds, and the streets were slick with fresh rain. Most people sought shelter in cafes or stayed home altogether. But not Morgan Freeman. Now in his 80s, Morgan had long ago traded the spotlight of Hollywood for quieter days filled with books, reflection, and occasional speaking engagements. That afternoon, on a whim, or perhaps guided by something deeper, he stepped into a neighborhood library he had passed many times but never entered. The building was aging. The bricks bore the weight of decades, and the old bell above the door jingled with a faint, worn-out chime. Inside, time moved slower. There were no crowds, no loud whispers, just the rustling of pages and the occasional creak of wood. Morgan moved through the aisles, nodding politely at the librarian. Then something caught his eye. No, someone. In the far corner, hidden between the tall stacks of biographies and old encyclopedias, sat a young boy. He couldn't have been more than 14. He was hunched over a weathered copy of To Kill a Mockingbird, his hoodie pulled over his head, damp shoes resting in a small puddle beneath his seat. Morgan paused. There was something about the boy's stillness that stirred him. Not the stillness of peace, but of survival, the kind of quiet you learn when the world gives you no safe space to speak. He walked slowly toward him, not wanting to startle. "That's a good one," Morgan said softly, gesturing to the book. The boy didn't answer. Morgan didn't push. He pulled up a nearby chair and sat down with a book of his own. Minutes passed, then an hour. Eventually the boy turned a page. Morgan smiled. "I read that when I was your age," he said, eyes still on his book. "Didn't understand it all then, but I felt it." Still, the boy said nothing, but this time he didn't turn the page so quickly. Later, as Morgan stood to leave, he glanced down at the boy again. "I'll be back tomorrow," he said. The boy looked up just for a second. A flicker of curiosity, or perhaps hope, flickered in his dark eyes. Morgan stepped out into the rain, the corner of his coat catching a gust of wind. He didn't yet know the boy's name, but something told him he would. The next day, Morgan returned, this time with a thermos of warm cocoa and 2 paper cups. The library was just as quiet, just as solemn. He moved to the same aisle in the back and found the boy sitting in the exact same place. The same book still open in his lap, though further along now. Morgan sat down without a word. He placed the thermos between them and poured cocoa into one of the cups. The boy hesitated, eyes flitting between the drink and the man. "No pressure," Morgan said gently. "It's just cocoa, no strings attached." A few minutes passed, then slowly the boy reached out and took the cup. Morgan didn't smile, didn't nod. He just turned a page in his own book, something about the Harlem Renaissance. The boy sipped quietly, and for the first time they shared silence as equals. It was on the 3rd day that the boy finally spoke. "My name's Elijah." Morgan closed his book and met the boy's gaze with quiet gravity. "Elijah's a strong name." The boy shrugged. "It was my grandfather's." "Then you come from strength," Morgan said. Elijah didn't reply, but something in him shifted. Just a little. His shoulders relaxed. His eyes softened. Over the following days, their meetings became routine. They didn't talk much, not at first, but they shared stories through books, Morgan recommending titles, Elijah devouring them like he hadn't eaten in days. The Bluest Eye, The Old Man and the Sea, Native Son, books that carried weight, soul, and struggle. One afternoon, Morgan noticed a sketch pad beside Elijah's bag. It was filled with pencil drawings, some crude, some remarkably expressive. One page caught his attention, a portrait of a man sitting under a tree, reading. "Did you draw this?" Morgan asked. Elijah nodded, just once. "It's good," Morgan said, "really good." Elijah looked down. "Don't matter, I'm not going to be anything." Morgan leaned forward, his voice quiet but firm. "Don't you ever say that again." Elijah looked up, startled. "You have something," Morgan continued. "I see it. More importantly, you know it's there. You've just been told too many times that it's not enough. But they're wrong." For a long time, Elijah didn't say a word, then almost a whisper. "My mom used to say that too." Morgan leaned back. "Then your mom was a wise woman." The sun poured through the high windows, warming the wooden floor. A quiet hush settled over them, not heavy this time, but full of unsaid promises, of fragile beginnings. Elijah turned back to his sketch pad and began to draw again. 10 years had passed. Morgan Freeman sat in his quiet study, a cup of black coffee in his hand, and the morning sun breaking through the shutters. His walls were lined with books, most worn, all loved. The world outside had changed, as it always does, but something about that silent library in Baltimore still lingered in his memory. That's when his assistant entered, holding a padded envelope. "Fan mail?" Morgan asked without much interest. "No," she said with a smile. "This one's different. You should read it. He opened the envelope carefully. Inside was a letter on thick, textured paper and a photograph. Morgan's brows pulled together slightly as he unfolded it. The letter read, "Dear Mr. Freeman, you probably don't remember me by name. I was a quiet kid, always in the back corner of the library. But you saw me, you brought cocoa, you handed me books, and you told me once that I come from strength. I never forgot that. I wanted you to know I got accepted to the Rhode Island School of Design. Then I taught art for a while, and now I just opened my first gallery in Atlanta. I called the exhibit Lines of Silence. It's dedicated to those who speak not with volume, but with presence. You are the first portrait in the room. Thank you. Elijah Cole." Morgan stared at the letter for a long time. Then he picked up the photograph. It was a professional image of a gallery space. White walls, polished floors, and in the center, a stunning charcoal portrait. A man with graying hair, gentle eyes, and a book in his lap beneath a tree. Morgan leaned back slowly, his eyes misting over. Not from sadness, but something deeper. A full-circle kind of peace. He placed the photo on the bookshelf, right between the bluest eye and native sun. He smiled, not for himself, but for a boy who had once believed he'd never be anything and became everything he was meant to be. If this story moved you, take a moment to reflect on the quiet mentors in your life, those who believed in you when you didn't believe in yourself. Share your thoughts or your own story in the comments below. We read everyone. Like, if this story inspired you, subscribe for more true-to-heart stories that remind us what really matters. And don't forget to share this video. You never know who might need a little hope today.